I was reading an article about another police shortage article. This time it's the sheriff's office says they are out of detention officers.
Right now, MCSO stands about a little over 800 detention officers short.
Wow. That is Sergeant Joaquin
Enriquez?
Enriquez. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I got you.
I got to get bigger old man glasses.
Well, Pablo took off from back there. He's supposed to help us with all the Latino pronunciation.
I should be able to read this, and I can't. I hate
gotcha.
getting old. All right, continue there, Sergeant Enriquez.
Over 200 civilian positions open.
Everybody who has to process paperwork in the jails are hiring, are training. There's so many administrative positions.
Now often filled by detention officers, stretching them even thinner.
We're losing detention officers to other law enforcement agencies and to the private sector.
Okay, so what does that tell us? Sounds like a lot of administrative jobs, and somebody who is trained to be a corrections officer is now doing paperwork. Mm-hmm. Whereas we can find plenty of people qualified to do paperwork, but we can't find plenty of people qualified to do a corrections officer job, right? So we're not using our resources. They're not being allocated in the best way possible.
What does it tell you, too, that before the pandemic, MCSO was only about 15 detention officers short? And now we know, you just heard Sergeant Enriquez, a little over 800 detention officers short, which tells me that other jobs are just looked at as more desirable, too. And they're having a tough time retaining detention officers.
Well, as he said, in some cases, they have people that are leaving for the private sector. Mm-hmm. In fact, there's a MCSO is now offering a $7,500 signing bonus for new hires on top of wages starting at about $55,000 a year.
Sounds nice.
Sounds okay.
Yeah. Okay, but it's better than fries and burgers, man.
I don't disagree, but you don't get to just fill out an application. You start Monday. You're a corrections officer. No.
You and I went over some of the tests, and there's physical tests you have to get through.
Yeah, I mean, you're a sworn officer, right? So you have to go through some of these different tests, and you have to have training. My niece went through some of this training, so I know that it's a long training course that you have to do where maybe you're not making a whole lot of money. Maybe you are making a little bit in there. I don't know exactly how they structure that. But in the end, you're making $55,000 a year. $55,000 a year sounded like a lot of money to me when I graduated high school and college. Mm-hmm. That was 30 years ago.
Sure.
And as we know, what is it? If you want to lead a middle-class life in Arizona, what was the number? $168,000 household income?
I was going to say, it's up around six figures.
So if you want to be a corrections officer, you're going to have to marry somebody with a six-figure job if you want to be happy.
Well, you just need to find somebody who works two corrections officer jobs.
That's it. Which, by the way, brings us to overtime because that's what's happening right now is they're all working a lot of overtime.
For the officers that are working, there's no limit on the amount of overtime they can take. A necessity to keep the jail staffed, but it's a double-edged sword.
If you're working every single day, are you getting burned out? Are you tired? Are you missing things?
Yeah, you are. And the last thing we want is for a corrections officer's life to be in danger because they're exhausted from working too often, right? Mm-hmm. Because let's face it, the prisoners, you got some shady ones in there. And some of them that are being detained, they'll take advantage of those moments.
I think about some of the other aspects of the job, too. You and I get to sit here in the palatial KTAR studio and look out the window every single day.
Oh, it's nice.
Nice view. Can see the mountain through the tree. Nice blue sky. Sure beats working in a jail.
3 concrete walls and a bunch of bars.
And dealing with people.
Convicts on the other side.
Who, best case scenario, don't deserve to be there.
Right.
Worst case scenario, do deserve to be there. And like you said, they're not necessarily the most upstanding citizens.
You know, I think there may be another hang-up here.
I'm not going to shank you today, Chris. How's that? You're welcome.
Yeah. There may be another hang-up here. Mm-hmm. And that is that we have some, I'm going to call it onerous qualifications to be a law enforcement officer in the state of Arizona. So, for instance, suppose that you were in college. Okay, let's say you're 25, 26 years old right now. Mm-hmm. You graduated college. pandemic hit, didn't have a great job coming out of college. You took what you could find. Maybe you're working at your uncle's tire shop for a couple of years, but you've got a degree. Maybe you've got a degree in criminal justice. And you're going, okay, my uncle's tire shop is back up after the pandemic. I want to start pursuing my thing here. But when I was in college, I went to a party, and there was a guy there that had some ecstasy, and I gave it a shot. All right? Drop some Molly. Right? A little X. Pablo, what else am I missing here? We took some disco biscuits.
Okay. We all get the point.
No?
I gotcha.
Do you want to build a snowman? Maybe you're on something else.
I pick up what you're putting down.
Maybe you packed up for a trip on LSD Airlines, is all I'm saying.
So let's say you do an illegal narcotic. Got it.
Yeah. No.
Oh, Chris.
You got a criminal
disco biscuits on a Tuesday.
You're right. It should have been a Friday. You're right. So we've got you got somebody who's got a criminal justice degree. They are willing, ready, and able to join any of our police forces, which we know, or law enforcement forces, which we know are short. What we say, Phoenix is short 2,000 officers. MCSO, just corrections officers, are short 800. The highway patrol is down what? They're down 600 people, I believe, is the last story that we had, something like that, right?
Okay.
And you've got people who maybe got a criminal justice degree, but, they went to a party in college and they tried something.
Yeah, I see it right here. Arizona law requires all prospective peace officers to undergo a polygraph test, and anyone who admits to disco biscuit usage other than marijuana 5 or fewer times has to wait 7 years to be eligible to be a licensed peace officer. And anyone who's used substances more than 5 times, especially disco biscuits, can't become a cop.
So
technically.
Wait a minute. Even marijuana. But wait, hold on, Joe. So again, suppose that I'm somebody who might be looking for a career change. Let's say that I'm working a job right now and maybe there's layoffs coming. Or let's say I'm so frustrated with my coworker, I got to get out of there, even if it means I have to take a pay cut and I'm going to go work for $55,000 with a $7,500 sign-on bonus, and I'm going to go hang out as a corrections officer. I'm willing to do that. Oh, I'm sorry. You had edibles a few weekends a year ago.
Yeah, if you're honest or can't trick a polygraph, you're out of luck.
But edibles are legal.
I don't believe that matters.
Huh.
In fact, I know that doesn't matter.
Well, alcohol's legal, right?
Alcohol is
So
looked
they must
at entirely.
Wait a minute. No, it makes perfect sense then that if marijuana is legal, but the law enforcement hiring process in Arizona is going to be prejudiced against anyone that had marijuana more than 5 times in the last 2 years, they certainly would be prejudiced against anyone that has had more than 5 beers in the last 2 years, right? Or 5 glasses of wine in the last 2 years, right? That makes perfect sense. That seems consistent.
No.
Oh, what is the rule?
The rule, no, it applies to marijuana as well.
But what about alcohol? It also applies to alcohol.
No, it does not apply to alcohol at all.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
That's weird.
No.
That seems like a weird double standard.
It is.
In fact, not only does it feel like a weird double standard, AZ Post, who they're the ones that kind of do some of the regulation, they've punished at least 4 officers for driving drunk this year alone, and they've opened investigations into more. That's bizarre. So we have a massive shortage right now of law enforcement officers, and we are not taking whomever. We're just throwing applications out because somebody in college went to a party where a friend had Molly.
There is a waiver process you can get through on all this.
Okay. All right. So again, we're making more hoops to jump through.
There have been a few exceptions granted.
I'm not saying I want El Chapo to be a cop either. Don't get me wrong.
Pablo liked that.
That's not what I'm saying here, right? But I know a lot of really normal people that had college experiences where they were adventurous.
El Chapo, no El Capo?
Pablo, will you come get your host?
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.